coming to show the Australian people how the game is really played.
For the first time on Australian Survivor, they will be playing with a member of their own family.
Playing Survivor with your spouse is a very dangerous idea. But the good thing is if one of us wins, we both win.
As brothers playing in the game, we've got this bond that's unbreakable.
I love my sister so much, but out here, you're going to have to take out your loved one at some stage.
If she gets voted out, it's going to rip my heart in two. Australia's going to see the big man cry.
Survivor has always been an individual game, but this season, that's all about to change. All about to change. It's all about to change.
I have a secret weapon. My baby girl Nina, y'all better look out, because I taught her well.
Will blood prove to be thicker than water? Or will the deepest bonds be broken?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Survivor Now podcast. And we've got so much to talk about. And hopefully we only spend like an hour or an hour and a half and still hit everything that happened, because there was so much. Not only in the world of Australian Survivor, but we got the official cast of Survivor 42, which, Abraham, we still got to talk about what we're doing for that, because we're doing like a special cast reveal for that, right?
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Seeing them out there and say, "Hey, I was just out there at the same time."
Pretty much like right after. Was it the same time or like right after you guys? Right?
They were in quarantine in Fiji while we were departing.
Oh wow. Okay, so it's literally right after.
We stayed in one hotel next door, and they were like literally, if we went around the corner, we'd have saw where the same place we were at. They were at, so it was pretty cool.
Good thing you guys didn't sneak off middle of the night and try to
We
go.
thought about it.
Oh man. Well, you guys can see we've got two fellow guests with myself today, and that is Will and Abraham. I mean, Dylan could have joined, but he, I guess, skipped off for his dad's birthday. I mean, instead of talking Survivor, like, no, I'm kidding.
What a loser.
Yeah, obviously, happy birthday to Dylan's dad. We hope to have him back next week. But gentlemen, a lot to talk about. Let me just give you a rundown of kind of where we were at when we left off. And I can basically run down everything by just saying one name, David. That's where we left off. David with his whole real quick, Abraham, because you actually had to leave before we got your opinion on the whole situation last week. What was your opinion on that tribal council? David's blowing it up and throwing Sam under the bus and everything, playing the idol. How did you feel?
You know what? We saw a little bit of it in our season 42. Somebody has to be the one. You know, as you get into the game, we saw how his daughter was. Hey, she didn't fall far from the tree. And dad is just being dad. He's like, hey, if I can't have it, nobody can. I was like,
oh man.
So you're just gonna tell everybody. Okay. Deshaun did the same thing in our season. He's like, I'm just gonna tell everybody.
Yeah. Now
it backfired because he didn't get voted out. So it worked and it kind of backfired because now it's like easy target.
Well, thankfully he played his idol. I was sitting there and I'm like, if he doesn't play his idol, that it's got to be like the dumbest move. And like, that is clear. Like, everybody hates you. You can see it. Like, play your idol.
Yeah.
He worked on it. He worked that up himself. I mean, that was an outstanding worked up vote at Tribal.
Well, so, I can't remember. Dylan and I both said we were going to do something. I think I said I was going to eat something super gross. And like Island, if he lasted this week, which spoiler alert, he does, which just shocks me. But let's get into this. So the first thing I wrote down for episode 4, which is, for us, it was early Monday. It actually came out Monday at 3:30 a.m. for me, at least. So it would have been 2:30 Abraham's time. Will, are you an hour?
No, I'm EST.
You are
at the same time.
Yeah. So 3:30 for you as well. Basically, Sandra is scheming. She doesn't like that Dave is still in the game. She doesn't like that she had a vote against her, which she brings up multiple times. And we see sad Dave, who has no friends. He wants to rebuild trust. He goes to Sam. He apologizes. And Sam's like, yeah. She doesn't say this to him, but you're basically dead to me and everything. And we just get all these images about Dave being like this sad guy. Will, what'd you think watching this? Dave has no friends. He needs to rebuild trust.
God, Dave. I mean, here's the thing. Dave kind of brought it on himself. I felt bad because he was completely isolated. He was a total social pariah. But again, he just was so sloppy that you can't really blame people for not wanting to work with him because they don't want to be the next Sam. So I felt bad, but again, he kind of brought it on himself.
Abraham, if you're there with Dave, are you forgiving him?
Look, Dave is my best friend now. Because here's the thing about it is, they will never look at me as long as Dave is there.
No.
Matter of fact, the note I wrote for myself was Dave lives. Thank goodness.
He's a number two. That's what I'm getting to, and that's what we get to it a lot in these 3 episodes about like Amy going to him and saying, "I trust Dave. I think he just made a mistake." Amy and Jay and everybody. Abraham, he's a number. That's how I look at him. Like he's out. Like if you need someone to take out the queen, Dave is right there for you.
Look, in a game of Survivor, anybody you can push in front of yourself is always a good friend to have. And right now, Dave has put himself in a position where nobody really trusts him. He's already said a lot of things to ruffle feathers. So Dave is who you want to be with right now, but you don't want anybody to see that. You want to slide to the side, catch him at the water hose. And here's the thing, where we go get water at, it's not next to our site. So you got a little bit of
pretty far away.
On the Australian Survivor, it's almost like everything is sitting right there, and ours wasn't the same.
Okay, yeah. That would be tough if it's like right outside the camp to be like talking trash and stuff about others, like at the water. Well, on the flip side of, wait, what were you saying, Abraham?
Be like, we can hear you. we can hear you, so okay.
Hey, are you talking about me over there? Because I could definitely hear what you're saying.
I could see you some more paranoid where if you were like, we have to walk maybe a minute and a half away.
You guys had to?
Around the corner, yeah, for hours. So you could talk during the path, or you can talk when you got there. That's how you all did our communication and our strategizing.
Mm-hmm. Well, on the flip side of things, for the Blood Tribe, the Water Tribe, King Kong, I say King Kong, King Kong feels great, and then the actual King Kong of the season, Mark, is kind of, he's feeling everybody out. He's very skeptical of Khan, while Khan's making everybody tacos. I mean, Abraham, you had to be jealous that you didn't have Khan making you tacos on your season.
Nope, number 2 on my list was y'all got way more food than we had. I mean,
you guys were straight starved.
I was like, crunchy. What are y'all making here? What y'all got? I mean, so if you got somebody making food, yeah, they may be a threat. But you saying these some crunchy tacos that he made out of those beans, I was like, all we had was 1 crab leg a piece. I don't remember those crunchy tacos.
Is that what he made? Like the taco? Like I heard the bean part, but what did he make like the actual like tortilla out of?
I mean,
I was thinking it was bark.
I was trying to kill everybody now. I'm like, well, sick. Well, we had somebody get sick on our tribe for eating something that they thought was good.
Yeah. Did they give you?
It was pretty.
Do they give you a rundown of like, don't eat this stuff, or is it just kind of like you're on your own to find stuff?
No, we get a list of things that are deadly, poisonous, and don't eat or touch. Because when you start fishing, you're just hungry. You don't really care, but you don't want to catch the blowfish that's native to Fiji. Kill everybody. So we do get something that lets us know, hey, don't eat this. Not so much as far as the vegetation goes, but they show different things for us to be safety.
Okay. See, that was my fear. I'm like, I'm gonna go on the show. First poisonous thing I see, I'm gonna be like, oh, this looks really good. It's down it goes.
Well, it only works if you remember it.
Yeah. Okay. That's true. Which I would not. But Will, tell us about this whole dynamic between Mark and Khan and how you see this relationship, because Khan is. It seems like he's really sure that they have a good thing going, and from what I see, Mark is just kind of playing along based off what he says.
So I think early on too, with the mindset a lot of players have, I think everyone wants to make like these huge moves, And so what I think Mark wants to do is try to paint Khan as a king, as King Khan, as a huge target, as a huge guy. That way, when Mark finally wants to get rid of Khan, it looks like a huge move for him. And I think that's kind of the dynamic that they're having. I think it's becoming more and more one-sided. Again, they think they're cool, or Khan thinks they're cool. Mark's like, I don't really like you, but I'm just going to play along because, it's social. But I think that's what's kind of happening. Hard to tell.
Yeah, well, that's just how the episode 4 started. Wanted to get that out of the way, and then we can go to this reward challenge. And first off, gentlemen, I just want to say the challenges on this season, I am loving them. I'm like really.
I love the challenges.
You like them too, Abraham?
Love them. I wish we had more of those challenges on ours.
They are like so physical, like physically demanding and stuff. And I think they're really interesting, and they're just something different from what we get like the US version. And the first one I have written here is for T, and I just wrote mud pit, right? So we had that mud pit.
That was a good one.
Oh, it was so fun to watch. They had to basically 2 players go 1-on-1, run into the mud pit. You had to get to the other side. I do wish they let them keep like wrestling while they grabbed the rope, but once they got to the other side and grabbed the rope, you had to let them go, and they went to ring the bell. First tribe to 3 wins. We get some cool moments here. We get Croc versus Mark, which has been this like Godzilla versus King Kong matchup. Abraham, I know as a physical player, you have to love this matchup every time it comes up.
So here's some insight. You only get like 30 seconds. When they look at them and they be like, we're totally exhausted. They've probably been going at it for about 10 or 15 minutes.
Oh,
and you're just getting that the part when they start and the part basically when they end. And you've only been doing it for like 30 seconds. Why are you so winded? No, we're totally exhausted. Because it took our puzzle, that second puzzle, it took us maybe 30, 45 minutes to run it through.
Oh, wow.
But on TV, you only get the snippet of it. So it looks like they go from being warriors in there fighting in the mud pit. Why are you totally exhausted? Because I am. That's it. So seeing those two go at it, I still wanted Croc to get the other hand because Croc is my pick for winning.
Yeah.
But Mark got it.
It's been exciting. Like every time these 2 giants step up, I'm like, oh, here we go. Here we go. Wrestling throwdown here. We also get I can't talk about this. We get a funny line from Khan saying cute boys mud wrestling, and he's just loving it. I thought that was really funny. I had to give a little shout out there. And then we get Sandra versus Nina, and Abraham. This isn't even, if I am keeping track, it's at least 3-0 Nina, or maybe 4-0.
Where's Shay at? I want to see Shay hasn't really mixed it up.
No, not at all.
Challenge yet. I was like, we already know what the mother-daughter outcome of them gonna be.
Oh yeah,
we've gotten it. Let's not play it again. We understand that the daughter's gonna beat the mother.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing, Abraham. Do you have the guts if you're on that tribe to say when Sandra's like, I'll go, to say, nah, John, she's not going. Someone else go because you've already lost to your daughter like 3 times.
First of all, Randy, I'm pushing her out there. Go get your daughter. In the game of Survivor, you want somebody in front of you. Well, Sandra, she can't even beat her daughter. Why we have her? As we go through these episodes, you're gonna hear where they say she's really not that good in challenges.
Yeah.
Look at her. She already said she's not good at challenges. So why you keep putting it out there?
Well, I commend her for trying, but she's not doing anything here.
I think you must have never listened to Sydney's speech.
Yeah, I did not. I need to. What were you going to say, Will?
I think in part, Sandra kind of has her Survivor experience. And I think now she's just more so playing for fun just to hang out with her daughter. So I think that's why she's always going against Nina in every single challenge. I think that's what's happening because Sandra knows she's not good in challenges. Everyone knows she's not good, but I think she doesn't care. If she goes to tribal, then what the fuck are they going to do? But Sandra, she already proved that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, we're going to get to plenty of. I actually listed on our Instagram page, Sandra is the player of the week, just because she's been showing why she's so good at the game of Survivor. But basically, let me see who wins here. Red wins reward, and then we get this kind of twist, if I can see this right, They get
Oh,
to
yeah.
choose. They get to choose one person from the water tribe to join them, and I thought this was a really interesting twist because I was like, you got all these loved ones on the other tribe. I wouldn't. I was like, if I'm in this position, I'm not standing up and saying, "Oh, I want my brother. I want my brother." Like, I don't want to make that. I don't want to make me seem like, even though everybody's a pair, when they actually see you together, you end up being a pair, and they end up choosing Shay. Kind of Ben stands up here and says, "Hey, I think Shay. I think the reasoning behind this is Shay will give us the information because they even said, do you trust her?" And he's like, yes. So then we get this cool moment of Shay going back to camp. Abraham, what'd you think of this decision to bring Shay from the water tribe?
The note I left myself was, do not ask my loved one.
Yeah.
I would have said no. It's just bad optics. You know, it puts you in a bad light. And here's the thing about it is nobody's saying that Shay has an idol. Shay has an idol. So
I forgot about that.
I mean, it's so quiet. It's just like Khan has an idol. We need to flush Khan's idol. But nobody's saying anything about Shay. She's just kind of moving along, doing her thing. So she would have been the last. I'd have sent Dave first, just so we could talk about it.
Yeah. Agree. I couldn't agree more. I didn't really write down anything in terms of Shay being there. We definitely see Shay and Ben together. I didn't really see, honestly, unless I forgot, I didn't really see any of Shay spilling the tribe dynamics of water or really anything like that. What I have written down next is just Sophie is trying to blend in, right? She doesn't want, she's like, as a businesswoman, I don't want to come out and feel like a controlling person. And she's kind of talking to, I'm just going to call them the alpha boys or the alpha males, as Sandra likes to call them, in Croc, Ben, and Jordan. And here comes the queen of Survivor, instantly sees it and instantly goes, all right, Sophia, I see you. You're on my list. You're next, as the great WWE Goldberg once said. You're next. So I'll go to Will first. What do you think about Sophie's dynamics here with the tribe? And Sandra just immediately was like, she's with these alpha boys.
So I think no matter what, we're going to talk plenty about Sophie. And I think this is kind of the preemptive to the whole Sophie saga that we're going to get of, and I think I wrote down interestingly enough that Sandra talked earlier about how Sophie just doesn't have that social awareness of who she's talking to. And I wrote down that Sophie recalls that whole thing. And I feel like she's just trying her best and she's getting in her own head of, fitting in with the tribe. And I think that's kind of her downfall going into the challenge and tribal.
Abraham, I mean, it's kind of, last week we kind of got like the good child saga of like Brianna and Dave, and that was like last week. This week it's all about Sophie and Sandra to me. What do you think about Sophie and her positioning in the tribe, and this, you can even mention this alpha male alliance that we have going on over here? Obviously they were blindsided. Was it, I think this episode, yeah, they get blindsided later. What do you think?
I think, Sophie went in and she, like I said, when we first started on looking at the whole cast, you have to get out of your own way.
Yeah.
So the very first vote off was like, did you not realize that you still didn't get out your way? And as long as you stay in your own way, and you got to, we come from different parts of what we do in the world, and now you out here in Survivor. Well, you can't take that with you. You got to say, okay, what's good for my game? Her sister, KJ, is playing a better game.
I was just about to ask that. Do you like KJ or do you like Sophie more?
I like KJ better because KJ has a better game. Sophie, she's talking to everybody. Well, Sophie, look, we don't want looking for you. So it's interesting to see how she's kind of maneuvering, but Sophie, they looking for you.
It's just funny to me that Sandra was like, she was so on Dave, and she continues as we go along here. She continues on Dave, like Dave needs to go, but she kind of instantly flips and she's like, okay, maybe I can keep Dave for a round, but Sophie needs to be the one to go out. But we'll see if they go to tribal council. Spoiler alert, they do. Yeah, they did. We get to the immunity challenge, and this one would have been the boat challenge, which is another super interesting one. Basically, you have to take a boat, you have to row out, you have to go through an obstacle, grab puzzle pieces, and make this super tough looking puzzle that like just has to stand up on itself. And
the gravity puzzle.
yeah, I was like, Water got theirs, and I was like, there's no chance that's going to stand up. It's literally like jagged like this. And I'm like, there's no chance. I'm like, that has to be one, Abraham, that lasted like at least 30, 40 minutes.
So here's what the puzzle pieces are heavy. You're already tired. Now these puzzle pieces are heavy. So the puzzle itself is heavy enough to weigh in on itself. And what happens, it holds itself up if you put the pieces in the right thing. But, you don't have a good meal. You're tired. You're sleep deprived. You're like, let's just get it up there. Red had it. They should have won.
Oh, yeah. Hands
but
down.
They dropped all the puzzle pieces. And they started off with the wrong direction.
Yeah, the boat was not going well. But I just want to throw out there, gentlemen, I am a huge fan of Mark. Mark is an absolute challenge machine. He's got that military background, and he was barking like, you get in the boat. Okay, now you go. All right. And he was just dragging this thing at one point. And I'm like, Mark is an animal at these challenges. Like, he's really good. And I think he's playing a good social game too. Maybe you guys disagree, but
from what he said coming into the game and him playing the first time, he's playing an excellent game.
Oh,
he left who he really was at home, and he's playing a great game, because in the challenges, you want somebody to be out there front dragging the rest of the tribe along, because you're not the weak link. So he's doing all that stuff. But then when he's getting back to the camp, he's just sitting back and letting somebody else be like, okay, well, let's do this. Let's vote on that person. Mark, what do you think? So I think he's playing right now. He's playing a great game. Right now, he's definitely looking like he's going to make it to the merge.
Oh, for sure. And do you think that Mark's playing a better game than Sam right now when we look at both their games? Because I think they're playing very different games at the moment.
I think that Sam game almost got blown up messing with Dave.
She couldn't let it go.
And I'm thinking if Sam and Dave and Mark all make it to merge, I think it's going to be some issues in there, because I think that she's never going to be able to let Dave go, and Dave is going to vote her. She's going to try to vote Dave out, and I think Dave may have more power, because now Dave is a free agent, because now he's in another tribe, more people. Hey, who y'all need voted out? Well, I'll vote them out too. So this could be interesting to see how that dynamic plays out.
Will, who do you think's playing the better game?
I think.
Oh, Mark, definitely.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Abraham's like, your answer better be Mark.
I'm going to say, I think Mark has a better shot at making it merge, but I think Sam has the better shot at winning. I think Mark.
Really?
I think so. I think if Sam plays under the radar and kind of slips through the crack and just let her radar go down, I think Mark is going to get pinpointed early on as a physical threat because of how he's commanding in the challenges. And I think Mark is absolutely a merge lock. Don't get me wrong. I love Mark. And I think right now he's playing the better game, but I think that he's just going to become a threat later on. And I think Sam, if she's able to kind of slip down the radar and just kind of slide her way through, I think she has the better shot to win.
I think both of them are merge locks. If we're talking about
absolutely,
I think Sam's in a really good position right now, especially, and we'll get to it, the twist that's coming next week. We will have to see where she ends up. But basically, Water wins this challenge, and that's how the season's kind of been going. They've kind of been going back and forth on reward. You win rewards, you win immunity, and it's really been a back and forth season so far. But then we get another twist, because that's Australian Survivor and Survivor all together. It's just twist, 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 twist. You get a twist, you get a twist. And we get, yeah, we're opening it here. And basically, Water gets to join Blood to witness their tribal. Gentlemen, whoever wants to go first here, I looked at it immediately like, okay, something funny is going to happen here just because of what I've seen from Australian Survivor. I was like, this either is going to be a non-elimination like tribal, or it's something different's going to happen. They wouldn't be going just to see someone get voted off. So whoever wants to take the floor, what was your reaction to this twist?
I thought the twist was, again, like you said, very suspicious, very weird. I know the closest thing we've seen that on American Survivor was the double tribal, where a tribe would go in, watch tribal while eating food. But here, there was none of that. It was just a tribe watching. So there's definitely something nefarious happening. But I never saw Australian Survivor. I didn't know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Abraham, what about you?
We had it on mine. I would have loved this twist on my season.
you get voted out. You'd give them a nice smile as you go to the other tribe, wouldn't you, Abraham? You'd be like, okay, I'll get you back.
First of all, I'd have been like, yeah, that's hey. When I get back, I'm coming. One, you know what? I got to give them credit. Great twist. Because one, tribal is kind of straightforward. You go to tribal, you scramble, or you're trying to get a vote somebody out, and you know someone is going to end their survival right there. But to have it where you voted them out, and it's like, wait a minute, you're voted out of this tribe here, but you get to go over to this other tribe. Now, blood versus water is different because now your loved one is in another tribe, so you got somebody to greet you, but you automatically go to the bottom of their stack. You're at the bottom. So
theoretically speaking, if Ua and Luvu joined Yase on the first tribal council, and Jeff goes, Abraham, just by looking, right? You don't know how it's going to end out. Choose which tribe you want to go to. Which one would you have chosen, do you think?
I was going to ask the same thing.
I'm going to say I love my Yasa tribe members.
Yeah.
I love them. They're family. Love them. I would have been gone. I'd have been gone.
Well, like
by looking out the like better matchup for who I am and just look like a better fit for the game that I want to play and some of the physicality stuff. I'm like, okay, this is the tribe I want to come over here on. Matter of fact, I know who I'm going to take off their tribe so I can take the spot.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm just saying, like, if the tribe swap happened at the first like tribal council for you guys, which tribe would you have gone to? Like, if he's like, you're still in this game. I'm going with Danny now. I'm not going over to the green tribe. Granted, I love my man Brad, but I looked over there. No. Oh man, Abraham, this is why I love having you. All those insights and everything.
You had to see us at. So there's a part where we don't know what tribe we're on, and it's wardrobe, and it's the first day as we start to leave to get set up for the first shooting, and you start to get your armband that says, oh, your yellow tribe, your blue tribe, and your green tribe, and you're coming out one by one, and you kind of say, oh man, we got him. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, we got her. You're like, man, you're excited. Then you be like, oh man, we could have. I want to go over there. So, Jeff,
can we do trades here?
Jeff, I'm not playing. I'm not gonna play. If I gotta be over here, y'all gonna have to. I'm not coming up the ladder. You're gonna have to switch me out because I don't like what y'all did. I should have did that.
It might have worked. No, probably not. We get back to the blood tribe. Dave is the no-brainer pick here, and Sophia is really. Did I say Sophia? Sophie, sorry. Sophie is really, she's trying to take the lead here and say, look, we're going Dave. This is the smartest thing. Are you cool with it? Are you cool with it? And one, this is just a side point. I wrote down David's tie-dye hat is amazing. And I don't know how it's so clean. It's such a weird note, but I was watching it. I'm like, man, that tie-dye hat is really cool. But basically, so David is the move here. But Sandra wants Sophie out because she's taking charge. And she's kind of taking control, and she's controlling that alpha alliance. So we are basically down to Sandra versus Sophie. Abraham, what did you think about Sandra here saying, look, Sophie needs to go?
Back on the couch again as a survivor on the couch. Sophie didn't have to do anything. Nothing. She could just sat back and let Dave be voted out. Once you start moving pieces around, and here's the thing about it is, with so many people still left in the game, there was no need to make a move at this point for Sophie. She could have said, you know what? I'm just going to wait.
Yeah.
Dave is a clear cut. Let's knock Dave out, and then we'll deal with Sophie later. I like the way the editing say, you got to get her out now. No, y'all got like 20 people left. It's no rush.
There's no rush. There's no rush to get Sandra out. Me and my brother were talking about that. It's the queen of Survivor. She's won twice. And I said, this is why Sandra's so good, is because no one tries to get her out right away. And they're like, let's just let her go. And it won't matter.
Here's the thing. If you were concerned about that, you would have voted her out on the very first vote.
I would try without naming her name.
Once they let her get past the first vote, now she's a part of Australian Survivor. She's no longer a part of U.S. Survivor because you didn't vote her out. You had a perfect opportunity to say, well, you didn't notice people, We don't really have a good relationship, but we all know who we don't want to have here. The people that's returning and the U.S. survivor. Let's get them out of here now.
Yeah.
So on one tribe, they did. They got the returning survivor.
They got him out.
Yeah. Voting you out first. There really wasn't any reason to vote him out, but it was like, hey, he came back again. Let's get him out of here.
Yeah, he's a threat. He's got to go. Will, you have something to add on?
This is just a side note. This is why Russell Hantz lost in Heroes versus Villains. He went on Australian Survivor. He was the first one out of his tribe. Sandra goes on, huge target, won twice, 5-time player, survives the first vote, and is now in control of Sophie blindside. So for all those Facebook moms yelling at Russell Hantz or how they love Russell Hantz, Sandra is a great player.
I saw Russell on Australian Survivor. I see why he got voted out. Don't forget now, Russell also had an idol and still got voted out.
This is just I have seen so much about Russell Hantz and how Sandra is showing him how it's done and everything. But I'm just sitting here and I'm like, what are these people doing? Like Sandra, it just blows my mind. Like I get like it's cool to go under Sandra's wing, but then again, I told my brother, I'm like, I would be trying to get her out first thing. But you would never hear Sandra come out of my mouth. Because once you say Sandra, it's a death wish. You're out immediately. Abraham, it's actually magical how she does this. It's like you say my name.
I'll call Tiffany up and ask her, how did that work? I said her name and that what got me.
Oh man, it's just amazing and how she does it. But basically we're coming to a Sandra and Sophie showdown. We're gonna take a quick break just so we don't have to rush through this exciting and dramatic tribal council here. So we will be right back. Well, welcome back. Let's get right back into the swing of things. And basically, we get to tribal, and the feeling around everybody is it's Dave. Dave is the name here. John's kind of adding on to that, like, oh, so it's just Dave tonight, right? Like, kind of adding on, trying to give them to say another name. And that's the plan. Obviously, Sandra is trying to turn the numbers on Sophie. Abraham, going into this tribal council, did you think it was going to be an easy vote? Dave's gone, or did you think Sandra would be able to get the numbers to get Sophie out?
You know what? I looking at it and the way things were kind of moving around in the tribe camp, I said Sandra has her numbers, Dave is going to be a part of that because Dave doesn't want to go home. So Dave is almost like a swing vote right now. Mm-hmm. But I was like, Sophie, you're probably going to make it through this one. I didn't think she was not. I didn't see her getting voted out. Well, I didn't think they had the numbers.
Well, the numbers that we kind of see are, we know that Sophie has the alpha males in Croc, Jordan, and Ben. And then it looks like Sandra's got, I can't remember if we were really seeing it at this point, but we really see it down the line. Yeah. Sam and Michelle, I believe, is the twin that's on that tribe. Which, Abraham, we got some of the twins this time in these
the twins
3
are coming
episodes.
alive. They're coming alive.
We see some of them.
Backstabbing too.
Yeah, they had like an impact a little bit in these 3 episodes, and I immediately thought of you. I was like, Abraham's going to be so happy.
I saw the twins. I saw one of them backstab. I was like, congratulations. One was in a challenge. I was like, congratulations. Y'all got some airtime.
Yeah.
So this is a good 3 series for them. I'm happy for them.
Well, who did you think was going home if you had to put your money on it?
So based off of the editing, I actually thought Sophie, because it felt like such a classic, like, oh, gotcha moment where the whole, like, everything that's happened suggests that Dave was going. And so I feel like that's why if Dave was going, I think he wouldn't be edited as harshly as it was, because he got a pretty harsh edit with Sandra kind of just sneaking on in. And I think when we got to tribal, I'm like, Dave's going to live. Oh my God. Sophie's going to go. Oh my God. And watching it all unfold was just spectacular to watch, actually, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, Sophie ends up getting blindsided here, and it looked like she was going to be going home with the tribe right there. You know, everyone is comforting KJ and, you know, patting her on the back and saying it's okay and stuff like that. And I thought it was really cute. Sophie actually runs over and gave KJ a hug, you know, assuming, I'm like, Man, I feel John's a lot nicer. Jeff's a cool guy, but I feel like Jeff would have been like, nah, you can't go over there. You can't interact with them. But no, it was all good and stuff. And Abraham, the three guys were shocked. They had
it was an obvious Survivor moment where y'all are really not in control of anything.
You think you are, but you're not.
Yeah, y'all just there together. I mean, you should have pulled in Sandra. You got Sophie. They dug their own grave. Stop hanging out with each other.
It was a good moment. They were just shocked. And Sophie puts it down, and then I was like, if I'm Sophie, I would know instantly I'm not going home just by what John says. Because, they always say the same thing. Sophie, the tribe has spoken. From what we see. And he starts off like, Sophie, you played a hard game. And I'm like, okay, you're not going anywhere. He's not telling you whatever he's telling you if you're not, if you're going home. But he lets her know that you're switching tribes and everyone is shocked. And she runs over, and that sets up episode 5. So let's get into it. Sophie is now on the tribe. Abraham, I immediately thought the dynamics, like, this is not good. And we see it starting episode 5. This is not good for KJ.
Well, it doesn't impact KJ in the way of her tribe, because her tribe knows her. So they either trust her by now or they don't. What they don't know is your sister and what she's going to bring to the tribe. And then you got to go back and say, okay, who's the low man on the totem pole or girl on their tribe? Because now you got options. But Sophie, in the way Sophie came in there, is like, no. And then there's a part where Mark asked a question about Sophie. And they just did it wasn't kind words. we're gonna get a lot into some words about Sophie that is said that are said throughout this episode. I just want to throw it out there. I don't know if any of you guys thought this. I was terrified that we were starting episode 5. It was very quick, like edit with a bushfire.
I saw that. I made a note of it. I thought it was going to escalate, and so they would have to like relocate or do something. I'm glad it was just a visual.
Yeah, they showed the bushfire, and I was like, are we seriously, like, are they dealing with that? Because that's a situation, like, get out. So I was like, oh no, what's happening here? Here's
the funny part. I looked at 40. I'm on the season 41, and I'm like, I never saw a snake. Where's the snake at? Where was this rat that y'all keep showing? Where's this mythical rat that you keep showing? They do that sometimes for effect. Now, that's just a real storm or something. And that's a part of the show. If it's a real storm or something like that. It's kind of funny. You're like, where did this killer snake that I keep seeing on the show at?
They always show some giant, like, python that's
a small animal.
I found something interesting about KJ she has on an Austin, Texas t-shirt.
I didn't notice that.
I was like, way to go.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, she's my second now.
Yeah. I was going to say,
t-shirt, she's my second.
Abraham has a new favorite and everything.
I gave her runner-up creds right there just because that Austin t-shirt on.
I didn't even notice that. Maybe it's because I'm not from Texas. I'm sure if I noticed some Indiana t-shirt, I would have been like, hey, let's get a little shout out from Indiana.
Austin, Texas, come on back. South by Southwest.
Oh, man. Let's see. Oh, so back on the Blood Tribe, they're having discussions about we have to find out a way to let our, partners or family, whatever it is, we have to let them know that Sophie is dangerous and she needs out of this game. And while this is going on, the big guys are strategizing. They need a new move. I said they need a new, it seems like the big guys don't just want to take their own game into their hands. It almost feels like they have to have like someone above them to like, they have to be like the minions of an alliance. You get what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't seem like they're taking control. Abraham, you disagree, man?
They're clunky. They're not really playing the game of Survivor as strategy wise. They're saying, hey, we'll just vote them out. And they're a solid 3 type. You know, maybe 4, you could slip 4 in there, but they've already seen that they don't have what it takes to play the game of Survivor right now. Because Sandra has already orchestrated Sophie's vote out, which they thought was we got 4 tight. We can vote anybody out. Nope, Dave's still there, and Dave is still surviving. Like, hey, Dave didn't get voted out. So now they're looking at, wait a minute, we're not as strong as we thought we are. we don't want to get voted out now. So now you become somebody else's pawn in the game because your person that got voted out that was leading you is gone.
Yeah. I mean, and while they're strategizing here, Will, Sam is also noticing Sandra talking to the boys, and this kind of raises Sam's, mental awareness up a little bit and say, why is she still here? Like, she is dangerous in this game. And I thought we know that Sandra likes getting with alpha males. And I thought this was going to be her chance. She knocked off Sophie. Sophie's gone. I'm like, Sandra's going to pick up these alpha males. Is that the thought you got when you saw this?
Oh, absolutely. I almost thought at first that Sandra wanted Sophie gone just because she wanted the alpha males and she didn't like the fact that Sophie was even talking to them. And I was actually worried. I saw that and the gears in my head were turning. They're like, oh my God, Sandra's going to go out tonight. This is Sandra's episode. She's going to get caught by talking to the alpha males. People are going to realize that she's a threat and they're going to vote her out. But at the same time, it is classic Sandra, and classic Sandra knows how to survive.
Abraham, she was getting a big edit this episode. I am with Will. I thought that this may be the episode that Sandra went out because she was getting a lot of airtime.
And here's it. So there's part Survivor, part TV show. I'm gonna go ahead and put that on the part TV show side.
Yeah,
because it just adds to the fuel of it. Why are you not voting? So you got people in Australia like, vote her out. She's in Australia.
Yeah, she's
like
foreigner coming in.
Then you got other people like, she's playing a great game with the Aussies. And I'm like, what the world? You didn't vote her out on day one. Guess what? Now she gets to look like she's controlling her tribe in a whole different type of Survivor. And it's like, first of all, it's great TV.
Oh, amazing TV.
How did Sophie get voted out and Sandra's still there? What are y'all doing? So people are tuning in talking about, and it's funny now, it's airing just like ours did, and we're home. So everything that you want to say, you can actually say, and the person like, yeah, we don't, because we were responding to when people got voted out. Yeah, I don't know what I was doing. I don't even know what I was thinking about that day. We just didn't do it.
Oh, so there will be a lot of that after this. Like, especially if Sandra makes it super far in this game.
So this is just great TV of Survivor. And watching it unfold where you're like, why didn't you vote her out? Because she's voting y'all out left and right.
Yeah. Well, after this, we get to the reward challenge, which I'm a big fan. I know a lot of people say that reward challenges could be a waste of time in Survivor. I'm a huge fan of reward challenges. That's something I did miss from your season, Abraham, is all the reward challenges.
Yeah, too.
Yeah, I was like, Jeff really did mean you guys aren't eating or anything. I think there was like a total of like 3 reward challenges on your season.
I don't know if the pandemic played into our inability
That's what I was thinking.
Be able to, because we couldn't leave where we're at, unlike where they can leave Australia or be where they're located at. But I am jealous of the reward challenge. When they said one sandwich, it should have been one sandwich.
Yeah,
not a sandwich for everybody. Not a drink for everybody.
One sandwich.
One sandwich, one drink. That's all you get.
I do agree with that. What were you going to say, Will?
I was going to say, Abraham, I think in your season, the fact that it was 26 days just allowed for less time. So I think that's why you just got the short end of the stick of just no reward challenges. But
I think,
and then the reward challenge that we did get was busted.
Yeah. Well, they had the Pizza Shack or whatever it was.
Look at previous seasons and look at their reward challenges and compare our reward challenges.
Abraham's like, I'm going to watch what I'm going to say on these reward challenges.
Look, I remember looking at the reward challenges from previous seasons. I was like, oh, these are feasts.
Yeah.
You got with Rupert's in there drinking beer and they eating, they got ordering meals. And I'm like, what is this again? Oh, no. We busted.
You definitely got the short end of the stick. But this one is for cheese and crackers. And I know I'm going to say it at least 2 or 3 more times on this podcast, but it's another challenge that I love. It's a very physical. This is the push-off challenge where 2 people go head-to-head with pillows, and it's like a dynamic pillow fight, and you have to push the other off. Some of the key moments we get here, Alex is back, which we are really going to get to here, is still giving him a hard time. I believe he sits in this challenge because they don't want to mess up his back. They want to give him a chance to heal. Mark, I'm sorry. I'm totally like man crushing over Mark over here. I'm like, Mark, I literally wrote right here, Mark is like a god coming out of the water. Like when it was him versus Croc, because we get those. No, it wasn't him versus Croc. It was him versus Jesse. Yeah. And everyone's like, come on, Jesse, you've got this. You've got this. You just see Mark like rise up. And I'm like, I would just jump into the water. But we do have to talk about, before I get to what also happens in this challenge, Mark kind of uses strategy here to get to get some insight. And I forgot to mention, I believe before the challenge even started, Sandra looked over at Nina and did the whole dead. Sophie, dead. Right? And then we get Jesse kind of laying on the ground. Mark's just on top of him. I'm like, Mark, you're not moving him. Just give up. But Mark leans in, Abraham, and this was a really smart move. He leans in and says, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he's like, what's Sophie like? And Jesse, I wrote that down, and I quote, she's a snake, end quote. Abraham, at this point, I was convinced with Mark standing in the tribe, Sophie, if they go to tribal, out. This was a great move by Mark.
Yeah, but it was a great move by their tribe to continue to get Sophie out. If you wanted Sophie out of the game of Survivor, great move on your part. But Sophie's at the bottom of that tribe anyway. The best thing that can happen is, KJ, know you love your sister, but you need to distance yourself in the game of Survivor from her.
Yes.
And they kind of play that up about how she comes into the game versus how her sister is in the game. But Sophie, you didn't do yourself any favors. And then we go on to see that challenge, and guess what? Sam beat Sophie. I'm like,
oh, Abraham, I was waiting for this. As soon as Sam put her hand up, I was like, because I think I forgot to mention, these two did not have any love loss. Sophie was very hurt by Sam. She was very mad about it. Sam was mad that Sophie's still in the game. And like you said, Abraham, I was looking forward to these two. I'm like, someone's going to break someone's arm or something like this.
If you remember, James, was it in China when James was in there and they had the same type of battle, but it was in mud on the side?
Yeah. Oh, the mud. Yeah. You're talking China mud.
Yeah. He pushed him off and then he threw the bag on him. I was like, hey, I would love that because I'm throwing the bag on you.
The difference here is if I'm Sophie and I throw the bag on Sam, you got to go back to camp with Mark. And again, I'm not messing with Mark. I'm not. What we also get here, gentlemen, I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but just say we get another showdown, mother versus daughter. And Nina just, I mean, it wasn't even a contest. Nina just, wasn't that for the win too?
All of them been for the win.
That's my problem. Like
everyone has been for the win and she's lost.
Blood is losing. That's why, Abraham, I was like, if you're out there, you sticking up and saying, no, someone else has to go, or trying to, because every time they go up for the win, Blood is losing reward because Sandra just gets demolished in the challenge.
And before challenge, we get to strategize and say who goes where. So why are you still sending her out there? Wouldn't it make it seem like they volunteer? Australia may be different. Maybe you have to volunteer on the spot.
Yeah.
Keep your
potentially.
Hand down. Keep your hand down.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
Try to put it up, Sandra.
I would love to see either Shay and Sandra's daughter go at it. I think it's a better matchup. But
yeah. Oh yeah.
Where are you at, Shay? Are you still living in challenges?
Oh, she's not
in a challenge. Yeah.
Purple Shay.
not competing again, but water wins reward. And we get another twist, gentlemen, after the challenge here. This one, I don't know if I was a fan of this one. I get what they were doing. Personally, I thought it was a little weird. Basically, the entire tribe gets cheese and crackers, the water tribe, and they get to eat that, but they get to eat it in front of their loved ones, which does add a dynamic to the game, and they get to talk strategy and stuff. But I really didn't see cross-tribal strategy really going on too much. I saw more of like catch up. What have you been up to? How are you doing? What was your opinion on this twist in the game? I thought it was a little underwhelming, Abraham.
First of all, too much food. I need a little more starving.
Shit. It's so much food.
I mean, it was for this particular, I gotta agree with you on this particular reward, there was no no gameplay of Survivor a part of it. You're just basically eating in front of other people. What was the gameplay? And then I'm like, what did it add or take away? I think I like to call stuff like this cereal filler. It's like the milk that goes in between the cereal. It didn't really do anything. It's just called cereal filler. It just killed time.
Yeah.
Well, do you think we've seen an Australian Survivor? They've been a lot nicer than in the U.S. versions. Do you think they intended? Do you think they intended this to just be like, hey, let's give these people a moment with their families, or do you think they really wanted something to happen? It just didn't happen.
We're on Survivor. You don't get a moment. You'll be all right. What are we doing?
True. I mean, I think this felt more like TV show-y and less game. I think they anticipated more cross-tribal communication, and I think none just really happened. I think the biggest thing we had that was cross-tribal was Sophie talking to Jordan and Mark and Sam just reconnecting, and I thought that was a very touching moment, but there was nothing that really impacted the game other than just Sophie being mad at her old tribe, being mad at her allies.
I literally didn't write anything down. Like I have the reward challenge, and then I have KJ doesn't like how Sophie is playing because Sophie's kind of. There was one thing that I forgot to write down that I wanted to bring up. Sophie and Jordan had a very heated moment during this time where Jordan, Jordan was like, "Okay, you need to calm down. Like seriously, like there wasn't much I could do. I'm playing my game over here. You're not here anymore." So, and Sophie is just not having it. Like she is furious.
She talks to Josh too, and nobody from her old tribe really wanted to talk to her.
Yeah, that's right. She did. She went to Sam too, and I forgot Sam just kind of walked away and was like, "No, I don't really want to talk to you at all." No, like, so like this definitely makes it feel, Abraham, like you've been saying, that she is on the bottom, and that's what causes KJ while she's sitting down to be like, I really don't like how Sophie is playing the game right now.
And again, you can't, like I said, they had a lot of food, so I don't know if that was part of it, but steak and fry. And it's hot. I put a note of the temperature. It's hot where they're located at.
It's 43 degrees Celsius, which I don't know off the top.
105.
Fahrenheit. Oh, wow.
So when it translates over. So it's just interesting to see how they kind of capture her being mad about the situation, and the other tribe is saying we just want to stay distant. And your sister knows who your real personality is, and she's like, please don't bring a real personality here. Let me still play my game of Survivor. And like I said, the scene, like you said, now I will can add this right here. The producers of Survivor can't influence what you do. That's
they can't.
They can't.
Oh, they can't. Okay.
They cannot. It's how it's structured. They have somebody that's on the set to govern that, to make sure that you don't say, hey, I need y'all to talk more.
Okay, that makes sense.
So for Will, that's why it's boring. Nobody was like, hey, just go over there and mingle with each other. No, they can't come in and tell us what to do.
There really wasn't much here. So let's get into this this amazing,
I love this challenge.
It's something you don't see a lot. Abraham, go ahead, just real quick, give us, how long do you think you could last? It depends on how heavy they are.
First of all, I love all the challenges in Australian Survivor. I love them all.
They are amazing.
Oh yeah, I love this challenge.
I'm going to drop dead. I think Nasir was the only person on Nasir, Danny, and Brad were the only physical people I feared on the tribes. So I figured if I could beat all of them, I'm good to go. So I'm dropping dead, and I'm going to have fun at the challenge. There's medical people just drag me off. It was such a fun challenge. They're all a fun challenge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they have all been amazing. Some key moments from this, and we'll get to the one that I am so excited to talk about. We get Chrissy being told by Khan, Chrissy, you just have to beat Sandra, which is really funny. I guess I should tell you guys as well, again, if for some reason you missed it or you're just listening to this because you can't watch it. Basically, the challenge was you had these logs and everyone had to stand up and hold the log by like this tiny rope. So you had to stand there, and once you let go, the weight of the log is still attached to everyone else. So it just kind of pulls back and adds more weight to everyone who's still there. And this challenge lasted a while because at one point, John literally said, okay, we're going to switch things up. One hand, pick a hand, and that's what we're going with. Which I was like, I like it. I understand why they do it. They need to stay on schedule and everything, but I like it when they let them stand. Let them stand there for 7 hours if they want to. If they want to stand there, like let them. Like, why do we need to make it harder? Like,
Do you, do you want to know why?
Yeah.
So everything has a time slot for sunlight, for taking pictures.
Oh
Everything
yeah.
it's not structured, but it is structured. And also, you're like bored after a while. You gotta change it up. I mean, you gotta change it up.
John would be bored just sitting there. Yeah.
To me, thus far, I loved all the challenges leading up to this, but I will say this was the most exciting one that kept me on the edge of the seat.
Yeah.
I love this challenge so much.
One. This is the edge of the seat. Let's see what happens challenge. And you know what? It did not disappoint.
So
Ben is my number one.
Yeah, let's talk about Ben here. Ben, so blood starts dropping, and I was wondering if this is what was going to happen in this challenge. One person drops, and the momentum takes another person out and another person, and it's just one after another. And I can't remember how many people are on each tribe at this moment. I think it's like 10 or something like that. I would say like 10, 11 or whatever. And Ben is pretty much the last one left, holding everybody's log. And Blue has like everybody but 2 people.
It's
and
1v8.
This man, 1v8. I'm happy you said that because I thought it was 8. And I'm like 1v8. And Ben, you can see it in his face. He wants it. He is trying. And then Blue starts to drop. Will, I'll go to you because I know Abraham's going to have a lot to say about this too. He already said Ben's is number 1 now. But what was going through your brain? Because this was me live view. I was like, are you kidding me right now? Will, what'd you think?
So this is one of the very few moments in television where I see something and I'm on the edge of my seat and then Ben wins it. I pop off of my chair. I'm screaming, "Let's go!" to an empty house. My brother had no idea what's going on. And I'm so excited because like, I'm not the biggest Ben. I like Ben, but he's not, my favorite. But I was just so happy for him, watching him struggle so hard in this challenge. 1v8. It's the fact that he would not just won it for his tribe, spectacular. And I really hope we see this in American Survivor eventually.
Abraham, add on to this.
Look,
Ben, stellar performance.
When you're out there, I don't know if you heard it when Ben says, "Hey, stop talking to me."
Yeah, good point.
Ben said, I gotta go to that special place because it hurts, and everybody's waiting. And what happened to the Water Tribe is they let the momentum of letting go take the next person out. Had they just kind of said, "Hey, I gotta let go, and I'm just gonna ease you out," they would have not taken a person with them. And then, if you heard the way Jonathan say set it up, is the way you set up this challenge is the way that you can make it through. They had the strongest player at the end for theirs. Once Mark let go on his end, they were done.
It came down to Alex, who is really in pain with his back. He continues to talk about his back, and new tribe member Sophie against Ben.
They were done.
Yeah.
So
this was. Oh, go ahead.
Mark was a linchpin, and once he let go, the rest of them were gone.
This was. I'm going to overhype it a little bit here, and probably this is definitely recency bias, but this was one of my all-time like pumped up Survivor moments.
Oh yeah.
I was like, it was just a showing from Ben. It was a show. I will remember this. The time that Ben outlasted an entire tribe. Just imagining how much weight is on him right now. And he was even saying earlier, once he went to one hand, he's like, John's like, Ben's slipping. And I can't remember what he said. He's like, I got it. and it just looked like, and he looked in so much pain and so much like pushing through. Oh man, Abraham, I would have hoisted him up. I would have said, pick this man up right now.
I mean, you just, when you're there in it, you feel like it's hot, you're tired, and you're like, you know what? I just want to win a challenge.
Yeah.
That's all you want to do. I'm not going to let it go. I'm going to challenge. That's what he said. Hey, I'll just stop talking. Because they went over to say, hey, you can do it. No, just stop talking.
No, shut up.
Let me get in my special place. And I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better challenge to be played out the way it was. And I was like, this is a challenge right here.
That's what makes these challenges amazing, is because I feel like US Survivor, and we all still love it, can get really puzzle heavy at times. And this is every challenge in Australia is like, no, you're going to have to earn it. And we'll get to the challenge in episode 3 where Croc literally almost, like, I was worried about him having to be evacuated because he put so much into that.
I would have loved for this to have been our first challenge in our season. This to be the challenge. Because it takes away the puzzle, but it also puts it all on the team.
Yeah, that's what's so perfect about it. It's not something where you have to have physical strength, but at the same time, you don't have to be really good at puzzles. It is just hold on for as long as you can, and when you drop, the team's got to pick up the slack. It's like a perfect team challenge.
Oh, yeah. If you go back and look at the challenges thus far, there hasn't been a bunch of puzzles. They're not these puzzles that you got to try to figure out what shape goes in what thing.
Yeah, like this huge 100-piece puzzle or whatever. No,
these are like, okay, here's 10 letters. We gonna tell you exactly what they spell, but you got to get them hoisted up over your head. And ours is like, okay, it's a puzzle of a turtle walking on a sheetbed, and all that look the same. You're like, man, what? But I'm a fan of my own Survivor, but I love the challenges in Australia Survivor.
I was just saying, couldn't agree more. I could not agree more with that statement.
Just real quick, I want to give a quick shout out to Sandra, who outlasted Jordan, Amy, Michelle, and Croc in that challenge.
Oh man. Thank you for doing that. She deserves that.
And she only, in my opinion, she only lost because Croc let go, and I think just the like what you said earlier about how the
momentum of the weight just caught her off guard.
Yeah, and she wasn't expecting it. She looked like she jumped out of just, she's afraid. But I just want to give her a shout out there.
Yeah, your boy Croc didn't do too well in that challenge, Abraham. Maybe it's the hunchback, like the hunchback he had to do or whatever.
It's size doesn't mean Survivor is kind of dicey when you start getting the big guys in there and you start taking away food and start taking away sleep and stuff like that. You become impacted, and we're gonna see Croc. He really got impacted by wanting to do something, and your body telling you, "No, that probably was a bad idea." Because I can empathize with him on that challenge when I grabbed that 2 sandbags. I'm gonna try to go back and slow mo that. they were pretty heavy, but when I got to the sled, I think they said the sled weighed like 300 pounds.
Oh wow!
And everybody's trying to get this sled up there. When I got to the top, I was exhausted.
Yeah,
I know what Croc felt like. I said, Xander, you got to get me up, guy. I'm literally laid out. You don't see it on the edits, but I am laid out up there. I said, Xander, get me up. I was like, I can't have nobody on TV seeing me here like this. But you're exhausted. You're physically spent. So I know what he feels like.
Yeah.
Well, let's go on back to, so if you didn't catch on, blood wins. Water's going to tribal, which I'm sure all of us immediately thought Sophie. It seemed like Sophie was going to be the vote out, but it's never an easy vote on Survivor. Never. It's never like, oh, this is the person. Alex feels like he's proved himself. He says, which is really funny that he said that. He literally said, I feel like I've proved myself. I'm good in challenges and stuff. And he takes a complete 180 here in the final part of this episode. And then KJ is fighting back. She doesn't want her sister to go. She wants to get it on Con. So what were your guys' reactions to going back to camp here and KJ really putting in the work, trying to get enough numbers to flush out Con's idol? And it looked like they had enough, Will.
Yeah, I mean, I thought KJ played that as good as she possibly could have with having her sister, with having that knowledge of the fact that she has a duo that she's never going to turn her back on. That is a scary thought, especially early on in Survivor. So the fact that she was able to navigate through that, and I don't think we'll ever know whether or not she was truly successful, because we eventually hear how Khan was super paranoid, seeing all these side conversations. So I don't know if we'll ever know what would have happened. But I think it was going to be a very dicey vote, no matter how it landed.
Abraham, Con started feeling it. He started getting nervous.
Let me tell you something. This was the best Survivor depiction of what happens on Survivor. You start saying who we're going to vote out. One person starts getting paranoid. Great Survivor. And this was a well laid out plan.
Yeah,
I think it had it taken off. I don't think Con would have played his idol. And I think they would have flushed the idol and voted Con out. So, KJ, you could have checked your box. You made a great strategic move at the right time. You would have saved your sister, and you would have got Con out.
Well, I will say, I think it was KJ did an incredible job. at fighting for her sister and not making it be like, I refuse to vote my sister out because we're a duo. She did an outstanding. She didn't go to anyone and say, we can't vote Sophie out. She basically gave them the option. We could vote Sophie out, but we could keep Sophie and get out a big name in Con.
But in all the great laid plans in Survivor, sometimes they just don't work.
See, before we get to like how this actually ended up being, I will say, Abraham, I disagree with Con wouldn't have played his idol. I think he would have. Because
that's the editing. You like,
yeah.
He looked super. He looked you. I'm gonna go 50-50 with you.
Yeah, he dressed
paranoid.
He dressed in that like, I almost posted the picture and said one thing doesn't belong here because everyone's in like ragged clothing and Khan's got this like pink jumpsuit on, and he's like, it could be me tonight, so I decided to wear my best, and that's what tells me he might have, like Will said, we'll never know. We'll never know if he was going to or not unless we get Khan on and, you know, I ask him, were you going to play your idol? But that's the thing is I just assumed because he wore what he wore that he was that paranoid that it very well could have been him.
And it could. I mean, you do everything to throw somebody off you in Survivor. Everything. Yeah. You know, and again, I said that was a great laid out plan for KJ to put out there. Right timing, everything that she could check that box of making a big move. But like Survivor goes, it's never what you expect sometimes.
Well, we got four minutes here, a little 4 minutes, actually like 50 to talk about this finish, which should be enough because it was shocking. And I feel for him. I do want to say a couple words about Alex decides it's his time to go. And he's begging the tribe to vote him off. He said he thought about it. This is a decision. I do applaud Alex. He didn't throw out the plan that they had to ruin it. He didn't say anything like, don't vote Khan, vote me, or something like that. That totally would have shaken up the game. He just left it plain and said, guys, I need to go. Please vote me. Yeah. Which I don't like that the tribe didn't do. I didn't like that it came to John saying, we are not forcing you to play. If you want to go, that's your decision. I'm on the side of, if a guy's asking to go, you need to send him home. Like, just do that.
That's couch Survivor. You want to keep your group strong, and it's hard to say, look, I understand you're in pain, but can you make it one more day? Just give me one more day. And that's really what they were looking for. Just let us vote out Khan, and then we'll let you go. We'll get you out of here. You can quit Survivor at any time. You don't have to wait till the trial.
Well, my problem is that it almost feels like, and I don't know the behind the scenes, it almost feels like Survivor treats people differently who quit than get voted out.
Jeff treats people different who quit.
I feel like
in US.
Yeah, you get voted out. I feel there's a way for you to come back in the game. I feel like you quit, there's not a likelihood for you to come back. And I don't know how Australia handles it. But that's just what I see from the United States. And I see Alex as being someone who I would love to see back. Let him come back when his back is healthy, because I think he could be a really good player. That's where my anger came from with the tribe. Like, I totally get, like, come on, Alex, you've been pushing through it. Come on, we've got this great plan. But at the same time, he now goes from being someone voted out to throw your buff in the fire. You quit the game. And it just looks different.
When you're in pain or you become injured where you can't play anymore, it's not how you want to end your Survivor, no matter where you're at. You don't want to end it like that, but let me tell you something. He had to be in a lot of pain.
Oh, a ton of pain.
He had to be in a lot of pain.
Will, what did you think about this? It was tough to watch. It was really sad for Alex.
I'm someone who has a lot of back pain, and I can't imagine being in Australia in the blazing heat and having my back just be 100 times worse. I think Alex was truly in a lot of pain, and I don't think he could have lasted one more day. And I do agree with Randy how I didn't really like how his tribe just said, hey, one more day. But at the same time, you know, this is a game for $500,000, and I feel like they didn't want Alex to kind of ruin the whole plan they've made. But I don't hold Alex walking against him. I think he had to, and I agree with Randy. I really want to see him back when he's in a better shape.
And the thing is too, like I totally get the plan of like this is what we have, and we don't want you to ruin that. But I'm not even looking at this as this ruins the plan. Sure, you give Khan a couple more days where he could get more paranoid and then play the idol, say he wasn't going to. But you still have the numbers. Say Alex leaves, you go back to tribal, do the exact same thing. Sophie is the vote. And just try to convince Khan again. But I'll get your guys' final reactions about that. As we go into episode 6, we're going to take one more quick break, come back, finish it all up. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We are here to finish up our little review breakdown of this week's 3 episodes of Australian Survivor. We did lose Abraham. As it gets later, he gets busy. You know, we all have lives outside of this, so it's all good. But I still got Will. Will, you're still hanging around with me here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And we have an exciting episode to talk about here in day 13 of Australian Survivor. We just lost Alex in a heartbreaking way. The first thing I wrote down, just some quick notes, is like Jesse is having fun as kind of the fun, lovable, goofy guy on the Blood Tribe, and everybody seems to be enjoying him. I really like Jesse and Jordy, and I was excited to watch them play this season, and they've been entertaining so far.
Oh yeah, I mean Jordy is my winner pick. I'm still Jordy strong.
You sticking with it?
I'm sticking with Jordy all the way. And you know, again, I really, really like Jesse as well. I think they're just lovable guys.
And Jesse is on the Blood Tribe, right? Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah,
get
Jesse's
that
on the Blood.
Yeah, that's right. And then Sophie on the Blue Tribe, the Water Tribe, she gives herself the title Wicked Witch of the Outback, which I don't know if that's gonna catch on. We'll see. We'll see how she does, and if people want to start calling her that. But Sophie looks at her game and says, look, I'm kind of on the bottom here. This isn't looking good. Even though they had that plan to get Khan out before Alex decides he wants to go, Sophie goes, let me go work with Khan, because it would be a dynamic duo that nobody predicts. And Khan gives us this amazing moment in his confessional where he it goes from him telling Sophie, oh yeah, that sounds amazing. And then it goes to his confessional where he goes, no chance. This was funny. This was funny, hilarious.
Will. Absolutely. I mean, again, like I said, back when we were on episode 4, this whole week was just Sophie's misfortune. Sophie's whole week of despair. Nothing's going right for her. And one time she's trying to make an alliance with someone, he's immediately in his confessional, no, I'm not working with Sophie. Sorry, bro.
Yeah, he's like, this is just not going to happen. Like, not at all. I switched the view here. Hold on. Let me get back. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Might look weird to them. But anyways, Blood is talking as always. Who do you think went? Who do you think's gone over there? And they're really confident that Sophie got voted out. And while this is happening, Sandra is back on the mission to vote out Dave. Dave is who needs to go. She got Sophie out, so she needs to get Dave. And sorry, I'm trying to read my notes here. I'm losing the lighting as the day goes on, so now I'm like old. I'm like, let me get this light. Like, let me look here with my bifocals. So Sandra wants Dave. Amy is actually the one that sticks up for him, which kind of shocks me here. But we've seen Amy say that she likes Dave. And Amy is not wanting to go Dave. And she's got some backup here. So the tribe dynamics from what we see, Will, is Sandra, Michelle, Sam. And then we see the 3 guys that we've talked about, the alpha males of Croc, Ben, and Jordan. And then you have Amy, Jay, and Dave. And is there anyone I'm missing?
I don't think so. Yeah, I think you got them all right. Yeah.
It's kind of these like trios that are breaking off. Like we have these 3 trios. So you have Sandra's trio going up against Amy's trio. And then you kind of have these alpha males in the middle. Yeah. And that's what Sandra does. Sandra goes and talks to the guys about this is what I want to do. I want to get Dave out. You guys should definitely follow us. And then we get more information on Croc and his background as a rugby player. He's a retired rugby player, and he wants Survivor to give him something more, like prove his like purpose in life. I think is kind of the route he's going here.
Yeah. It's one of those cases where he sees Survivor more so as an adventure and not as a game. There's a lot of cases like that where people don't go, hey, I want to win $500,000. It's, hey, I want to find myself, I'm going through a rough patch. So the best way to do it is to go into the Australian outback with minimal clothing and minimal food and just see what happens.
Well, he did state he would love to win because he's always done team sports.
Everyone wants to win, though. So it's like
he's always done team sports. He's like, this is something that proves to me that I can do it, and I've got what it takes. We get to our next amazing challenge, and this one is for club sandwich, is what I have.
Yeah,
it looks like just one. Was it just one club sandwich?
It was
or one per person.
It was one per person.
That makes much more sense. He's just like, you're playing for a club sandwich.
Well, I mean, in American Survivor, I feel like they would argue over one just giant sandwich and everyone gets like a small bite. But in Australian Survivor, they're a lot more rewarding. I know Abe was yelling about that earlier.
Yeah. And this one is much like the mud pit. I called it the rugby ball challenge. This is going to be something we do on this podcast now. I'm just going to tell you how I remember it, and it's kind of funny. But yeah, this was the rugby ball challenge, where they throw a rugby ball in the middle of water, and they have 3 people go head to head. I didn't notice this. I feel like the women don't get a lot of opportunity to play. Sometimes they're like, this one's for the guys, this one's for the women, and then this one's for the guys, this one's for the guys, this one's for the guys, this one's for the women. I was thinking that, I'm like, why not just switch it up here a little bit?
I don't want to, this might come out wrong, but I feel like the guys, the buff guys, are like the super bodybuilder buff guys.
Yes.
And I think we have less women under that archetype, if that makes sense. Like, I mean, the guy, like, like SpongeBob, when he had like the muscle suit, that's what these guys kind of look like, like Mark and Croc, like these Goliaths.
Yes.
So I think the physicality just kind of, I don't know. Plus, it might just be better TV to see like the Goliaths, the Godzillas just go at each other.
I forgot to say this earlier. Speedos are a very big thing in Australia. I don't think I've ever seen Speedos worn as much as I do in Australian Survivor. Like, are we getting behind the Speedo trend, or are we not getting behind that?
Oh, man.
I know. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, in American Survivor, there's like this new thing where it's like they want less clothing. So I think we might get to a point in US Survivor where everyone's just wearing a Speedo and nothing.
I can't get behind the Speedo trend. I really can't. I just had to put that out there. Not much to say. We get some, normal matchups here. Sandra and Nina and Croc and Mark, and Water wins reward. They win the club sandwiches. This is their second straight reward that they won.
Mm-hmm.
And then while they're enjoying it, I think this is a moment in Mark's game that kind of, I'm like, ooh, Mark, I did not like that move for you. And I think we don't get enough edit about this and a big enough moment about it. But if you didn't notice it, because it barely happens, is Croc is worried that there's an idol. He's like, Khan cannot be the one who finds the idol, or Sophie. Like, no one else can. Neither of those two can find it. Excuse me. So he basically walks over to this table, and it was just really weird how they did this. He walks over, he flips it, says, see, no idol. And everyone just looks at him. And then that's it. And then we go to the blood tribe. It's kind of weird editing here.
I think he tried to play it off as him just being a super fan, because advantages hide at rewards all the time, so that's not uncommon,
especially in Australian Survivor.
But I feel like he was just trying to be like the super fan, like, oh guys, there's totally an idol, flips table, whoops. But I don't think he did a good enough job, so he just kind of looked like a lunatic just walking over.
That's what I'm like, if you're really doing this, I love you, Mark, but like, you're really blowing up your game here if you're just going to walk over in front of everybody and see, yep, there's no idol. So, and then he just kind of sits back down. Like, I guess if it was a joke that he was trying to pull, like, that makes sense. I just didn't get it like that. And I was expecting more than just a couple looks and then we're off to the blood tribe. But on the blood tribe, the tree idol is back. And there it is. And we have the giant pole. And this time, Amy is the one who finds it. And at the moment, we assume no one saw her, even though everyone's out looking and they're keeping an eye on Amy and everybody. We find out later that someone did see her, unless I missed something and Amy told Michelle.
I think Michelle, she found out either way.
Yeah, I that's another thing. I don't know how she found out.
I think that was just bad editing. I think if anything, it was just like a brief, like it showed her finding the idol and then like a quick panda, like Michelle, like peeking in. Maybe it was very under edited.
I feel like there was a lot of that and Mark, like it was back to back under edited. But I said, like brother, like sister, Amy finds an idol, much like Khan did. And then this is already, Will, the fourth, a lot of people gave season 41 a bunch of shit for, having all these advantages and stuff like that. And it seems like nobody really cares about Australian Survivor doing this, but this is the fourth idol this season and we're 6 episodes in. Now this is getting out of hand.
I mean, the thing is though, I think with people's criticisms towards 41, it wasn't that it was just a bunch of idols. They tried to change up the game and added a bunch of random advantages. From what it's just idols here. Yeah. And I think that kind of worked if you want to go more idol heavy. But like I said earlier on, in a episode before, there's more idols than Island of the Idols, which was named Island of the Idols. So I think people don't really mind as much. And plus, there's been some fun moments with these idols. There were a bunch of idol plays. We had David earlier with his idol play. So I think people don't mind as much because it just makes for good TV.
It seems like when someone's got an idol in their pocket, it seems like they've got to play instantly or they have to tell everybody. That's what it's looking like right now because we really haven't got many secret idols. I don't think there's a single secret idol in the game. Try saying that 5 times fast. Single secret idol, no. Okay, let's get to this immunity challenge, which I titled Swimming Basketball. And basically, I got to remind everyone who is like, why is Croc so exhausted? Why is everyone so tired? That water, I bet you had to, like the water you had to swim in to get to the net, I bet that's a longer distance than it looks on TV.
Oh, yeah.
I would guarantee if you see it, you're like, I got to swim from here to there. I guarantee you it's a long swim.
Because don't forget about how high up the camera was looking down that shot. And even then, like, if you're ever near a body of water, it's so easy to look at and it's like, oh, that's not that much until you're in the water, until you're swimming. Especially when you, after climbing up that however high it was, and
that net was probably higher too.
Oh, absolutely. So they're probably very exhausted. And I think the exhaustion is just weighs you down so much. Plus the pressure of having to go for your team, for your tribe, I think it just adds more pressure, which just makes you more exhausted.
And Abraham added too earlier. I believe this is where it says it's 43 degrees, which would have been 105 degrees Fahrenheit. So
it was also in the rope log challenge.
Yeah. So the point is, do this all in like 90 plus degree heat.
Yeah,
is the point, which definitely makes it hard. I wrote here, I don't know why I'm so infatuated with challenge beasts, but I said Ben is a challenge beast. He's a challenge machine, ripped through the water, up the net.
Dolphin boy.
and then the two, King Kong and Godzilla. Godzilla struggled here. Croc could not really make it up that net. He got back, and I was super worried that we were going to have an evacuation. It just was screaming. They had the paramedics, which another thing is, I think U.S. Survivor makes a bigger deal about bring on the paramedics. Everybody give them room. And Australian Survivor, like it was like last minute. I'm like, oh, there's paramedics checking on them.
Yeah, because in America, Jeff Probst was like, pause, medical,
Yeah,
And it's like
yeah,
a huge,
get out here.
dramatic. Meanwhile, I actually just went back while we took a break. I watched back to watch that challenge, and you see the medical arrive, and Jonathan just does not care. He just
Say
keeps
anything.
announcing, and then after he's like, "Croc, you good?" And Croc's just laying there. They're like, "Yeah, he's good. He's walking
Like,
off."
it must be an Australian thing. And like the US Survivor, I feel like goes more Hollywood here than Australian Survivors. Maybe some
True.
people disagree, but it's definitely iconic when Jeff's like, pause, everybody pause. Oh man. But that was kind of something. I also said Khan really struggled in this challenge. He was exhausted. I'm like, Khan, he was swimming at a pace I've never seen anyone swim at, which was super slow. He was just like literally like barely going.
Yeah.
So this was a tough challenge for a lot of people. About Croc, I almost laughed at this. I said Croc's enemy number one is the net. They never want to face each other. But Water wins again. This is their third straight challenge win in a row. Beasting it out, even though the Red Tribe has all those men. So let's go back to the Blood Tribe. Sandra is still gunning for David. Do you think she needs to lay off David here a little bit, or do you think she has a right to be going? Because I don't even think David's really that hard against Sandra.
It depends with how they edit it. I don't know how much is just her talking in confessionals, just being Sandra and being a character, and how much she's actually going to people and saying, "Hey, we need to vote David," and how much of those conversations are actually taking place, because we only see like a few convos when I'm sure there's hundreds of thousands. So it all depends how people are looking at her gunning for David. So yeah, that's kind of my whole stance on Sandra and David. But I do think it's like a little overdone by this point. It's like she got votes from David, what, episode 3?
Yeah,
it's episode 6.
Yeah, it's been like a week or something.
Yeah.
But Amy and Jay want to keep Dave. He's a great number. So now it's time to rally. And who do they start rallying it on? Sandra, which is like rule number 1. Do not throw Sandra's name out. And this is we're going to get to it here, but this is a masterclass, a Survivor masterclass from Sandra and how she handles this. So this sets up Amy versus Sandra. And then it looks like maybe they have the numbers here. Maybe they get the alpha guys. But then Michelle tells Sandra, Michelle, have you never seen Survivor? Why are we helping Sandra? I don't get it. That's just how good she is. I feel like I go on the show, I'm going to want her out first thing, and I'm going to be like in love with her. I'm going to be like, Sandra, oh my gosh, you have to stay. It blows my mind. But she goes to Sandra and tells her all about the idol that she knows Amy has, and this will changes Sandra's entire demeanor.
Yeah. I will say, with me just being a super fan of the show, I will be on an island with Sandra. I'll be starstruck. I'm like, Sandra, my vote is yours. Do whatever you want. I mean, I'm starstruck talking to Abe.
Yeah.
Imagine me with Sandra. No offense, Abe, but just like, see. So I think it's just a little bit of that. Just her name, it's people drawn to her. And I you know what? I'm glad to see more of Michelle, though. I feel like she's been very.
The twins have been, the twins and the cousins have been inexistent. I think the cousins are coming in a bit more too.
Yeah. Especially Jordan, I feel like.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I'm happy to see Michelle, but her helping out Sandra just could be, like, have they not seen Pearl Islands or HVP?
They just don't watch Survivor. But this makes Sandra goes, all right, I got to get Amy out. I think it was Amy, right? That's who they were going to split the vote between Amy and Jay, which I was like, oh no, don't bring Jay into this. But then we see Sandra going to the alpha males and saying, this is what we need to do. She's dangerous. She's got an idol. And basically we get this moment where Jordan finally stands up for the alpha males and says, I don't like being told what to do. I don't like not being in control. And he feels like he is the swing vote. And then I wrote down in almost all caps here, who knows who is going home? Who has any idea? because this was very well edited. That's something that gets Survivor a lot of times, is you can tell by the edit. All right,
Yeah.
I know who's going home. And in this instance, I don't know. It looks like it's going to be 3-3, and then wherever the alpha guys go. And
Yeah.
what the plan, and I don't even know if they're still splitting the vote. Where was your head at before we get to this tribal council, the exciting tribal? Aren't they all exciting? They're never easy. So where's your head
Yeah.
at entering this tribal?
So real quick, I feel like Jordan is the most self-aware of the Macho Men. I feel like he's taking more preparations of looking at his placement in the game while also just being under that Macho Man area. I feel like, oh yeah.
Oh,
But I
yeah.
feel like Croc, again, I feel like he's just kind of in it just for the whole adventure for the team. But I feel like Jordan, with how he wanted to separate himself from Sophie, how he was just trying
Even
to,
more
like,
than Ben? You think he's more in the game than Ben?
maybe not so much as Ben, but I feel like he does have a lot of awareness. I feel like he's just also under edited. I know you said that the cousins were under edited. I feel like Jordan is finally getting like a little bit of screen time, and so I think that's why I'm just remarking on him now, more than Ben. But just like you, I had no idea what was going on for tribal. All I knew was that Sandra was playing hard, so was everyone else. So it's just like, what's happening?
Well, we get more clarification. This goes into the whole people can't close their mouths about their idols and stuff and keep it to themselves. Will, this is a master class. Again, I'm going to say it, by Sandra. And this is why I think I told my brother while the episode was on, and he's not a Survivor fan. He was just kind of in the room. I think I told him, why does people are going to hate me. They're going to turn this podcast off after they hear this.
No.
I said, I think Sandra's a bit overrated. She's not good at challenges. I think people just for some reason keep her in the game, and she slides under people's radars, and she knows how to outlast. And yes, she's a wonderful talker. But to me, I think Tony is the best player to ever play the game.
Oh, yeah.
I'm on that side. And I think there's better players than Sandra who have never won because they're better players than Sandra. So
Yeah.
I was like, I think she's a little overrated. She obviously deserved her 2 wins, but look at how she's been playing since then, and it hasn't been that good. The day 16 curse that she keeps bringing up. Yeah, she has not been playing well. But then we see it here why Sandra is so good, because she just literally hook, line, and sinker. Like, she just ran that tribal. She had everyone right in the palm of her hands. She knew exactly what to say. And in the moment, she looks at Amy when John kind of catches her. And I don't like this. I don't like when the hosts really push for something.
Yeah.
Like, he's like really wanting Amy to give up her game. And I'm like, just keep the questions vague. I get there's a TV side of thing, but I'm like, you can get good TV by just asking basic questions. How's the tribe back at camp? Is there a vote happening tonight? Like, do you know where the vote's going to lie? Yeah. How are you feeling about your position? Stuff like that. Go ahead, Will.
I don't know about Australian Survivor, but I know it's US Survivor. Tribals last about 2 hours.
Yeah, like 2-3 hours. So they pick the best.
I think by then, like, I feel like sometimes castaways, they like to have an answer that could lead into something else. And so when the hosts hear that, their ears perk and they're like, ooh, elaborate on this further. So it could just be like weird editing. But yeah, I mean, and especially with US Survivor, like Jeff Probst, he's god awful at vague questions. Like, I feel like he like pressures people into leaning one way or another.
You definitely can. And that's how I felt here. I was like, okay, you want Sandra to succeed. They have this plan. And I just felt like all the questions were like, what's the benefit of keeping you here? Do you feel, on the outs tonight? And like stuff like that. Yeah. And he really leans into Amy to get her to spill the beans on her idol. And Sandra, all hail the queen. All hail. She just goes, say it. You might as well say it. And Amy didn't even have to say anything, Will, and she does. She says, I have an idol, which her 2 closest alliance members had no idea about.
Man, Australia needs to calm down with these tribals, They're so whack, especially the blood tribes. Like, I feel like their tribals have just been whack after whack after whack.
It's been insane. Like, what'd you think?
Absolutely.
And then what'd you think after Croc was like rule number one of Survivor? Sorry, I'm trying my Australian accent. I had to try it at least once. Rule number one about Survivor: don't ever say you have an idol. Like, this was just a mess from Amy.
Absolutely. But you know what? It made for great TV.
It sure does. It's just an excellent play by Sandra. And at this point, I thought Jay was going home.
Mm-hmm.
I said, that's it. Sandra's convinced him. She just said she had an idol. That shows her she's untrustworthy. Sandra's like, these people, you can't trust them. And that makes Sandra look like she's a trustworthy person, which she is not. And Amy does end up playing her idol, and Jay ends up going home with more votes, which, I'm sorry, Jay. I have found out doing this podcast now, it's a curse to have me say you're going to make it far in this game, because I told Dylan last time, I like Jay. I told Abraham, I really like Jay. He is flying under the radar, and now he's out of this game. So I'm not going to say anybody. I'm sure I will, but if I say your name, you're going to be voted out next week. Will, final thoughts on this tribal?
Just exciting tribal. I will say, according to the wiki, Jay is the second person in Australian Survivor history to go through the entire game without a single confessional, which I think is a dang shame.
He didn't have one confessional?
Not one confessional. So I honestly, great tribal, but
the
editing, I think, kind of made this whole episode kind of sloppy with the whole mark flipping table thing and whatnot. But
yeah.
You know, again, the blood trim, I don't want them to go to tribal because I want Sandra to stay, kind of, in a way. And I really like people like Croc and David and Jesse, but their tribals have just been so lively, so entertaining. It's been a backstab, idle play, 4-3-3 vote. It's a great season.
It's outstanding. It's so far, again, recency bias. It's so far amazing and one of my favorite. Like, the dynamics and everything is it's prime Survivor, and it is exactly what we want from it. And about the tribes, well, we're about to shake things up. Because in the preview for next week, drop your buff. So, Will, these 2 weeks, they mean nothing now because everyone's on different tribes and everything. Which, too early for a tribe swap, or do you think this is perfect amount? We voted off, 5 people are gone from the game, which was a crazy week. We had a vote off, we had someone quit, and we had a tribe swap.
And a near medical evacuation.
Yeah. It was a crazy week. So what are your thoughts entering next week? Same question we always end with. What are you looking for? And where does this leave the game?
It allows David to make the merge. It allows Sophie to make the merge. Two things that I never thought would ever happen, but here we are.
They got new lives in the game.
True. I'm a little worried because I feel like Sandra has such a big edit so far that she is going to go out at a big moment. And first tribal after a swap is a big moment. And I feel like if she gets screwed.
We do know she's with her daughter, and I don't know why, Will, but it's screaming her daughter turning on her to me.
That would be brilliant.
Princess takes out the queen.
Because Nina learned from the best. But at the same time, I feel like if Nina ever votes out Sandra, I think that paints a huge target on Nina's back. It proves that she will vote out her own mother in this game. And that's a huge target to have. And I feel like, people are able to say, Nina voted out her mom. She will do that to you, you, and you. Let's vote her out now. So maybe, but I don't think it's in Nina's best interest. I think if her mom was to go, she would just take the back seat and just say, hey, I'm not going to do anything to stop it.
Yeah. You could be very right. It'll be interesting to see how they work together and what other pairs end up together when they do the swap. But one thing we know, the challenges are going to be incredible. And this season is just going to be wild. I know it. But let me get the ending stuff out of the way as We're both getting quite late here. You can't even see me anymore. It's so dark now. It's insane. You still have good lighting and everything. But go check us out on our Twitter. A lot of Survivor 42 news coming out. So at Survivor Now Pod on Twitter. Go follow us on Instagram at Survivor Now Podcast. A lot of stuff going on over there. Go check out our YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube. We post this. This will be in podcast form first, and then go on YouTube later tonight. So a lot of stuff going on there. We've got a busy schedule coming up. March 9th is season 42 of Survivor, and we're still going to be in the heat, the merge time, probably around the merge at that time for Australian Survivor. I'm going to try to get all the guys, Will, Abraham, and Dylan on here so we can do a cast assessment of season 42. Excited. Now that it's been released, it's going to be, I love cast assessments because you know absolutely nothing and you act like you do. But yeah, so that's going to be all good. And then next week, we'll be back probably around the same time to cover episodes 7, 8, and 9 of Australian Survivor, Blood versus Water. Will, I hope you'll be back here next week.
Absolutely. Sorry, my mic was kind of
I was like, oh, did we lose Will?
I hit the mute button by mistake, and I kept hitting it and just turned on and off. But yeah, absolutely, count me in, brother. You know, I love doing these podcasts. I love talking about Survivor. So, you know, count me in.
yeah. It's always fun. It's always, next time we'll try to do it, get it done before the sun goes down. That's the plan. But thank you, Will, again for joining. Thanks to Abraham as well for joining us. Always, man. Always a pleasure. And thank you guys for watching and listening, and we'll see you next week.